Hi and welcome back to another reflections video that I'm here to do and to speak on spiritual awakening and this journey that I am here to talk about, and to share and to support and guide other people through this path. So first of all, I just wanted to share, a few reasons as to why I started this channel and this project in the first place. And really, it all comes from such a personal journey that I have been going through myself. When my awakening first began back in 2014 now, it was such a shock. It was very rapid, it was very fast, and it was very sudden and spontaneous, I guess you can say. And at the beginning, I had this thought, and I just spoke to Chris about this in my last episode of the Nuance podcast. Definitely check that out. Such a great conversation that I had with him. But I had this, thought that came to me, I guess you can call it a thought, and that said, this is not just personal for you. There are going to be many people going through the same process and the same journey and going through the spiritual awakening. And when that happened, I knew in that moment that it was my role and it was my job and my responsibility to create tools to support people through the path. I didn't know what it was going to look like, when other people would be going on this path too. I didn't know that there was going to be like this big collective shift and change, and I didn't know when. I thought it would be like a long time down the line. And this is in 2014, right? So I set up this page, I started Instagram page through meditation. It all came to me. The name, the logo, everything came to me through meditation. And I set up the page. And then what happened is that, I started posting. I started the podcast back in 2018. I've been doing this for a little while. And for whatever reason, it is flowing at the pace and the time that it's flowing at, but it's something that I feel that it is really what I'm here to do. And obviously on the other side of things, I am a musician, an artist, a singer, and a DJ, and I do all of that as well. But I am also here to share these more personal reflections of, what's really happening in the world and how this shift is also affecting us up deeply and personally, And so, I just feel like I started this channel, first of all, because I wanted to have conversations with people who were going through the same thing. For me, it was so isolating at the time. There weren't many other people who I could speak to that got what I was going through, that could really clearly grasp what was happening to me. So I slowly started having conversations with people, and that's when I started the Nuance podcast, back in 2018. Actually, I think December 2017 was the first one I did. Or maybe it was 2018. Anyway, so basically that was it. And the podcast is so nourishing. I feel like I've learned so much just through speaking to other people. It really is such a powerful space and container, just raw, honest, unfiltered conversations with people, And I really believe that nobody holds the whole piece of truth of the puzzle of what that really means. And actually, when we come together and we start sharing our experiences, because experience is really where we start to learn to ground, to integrate everything, and that's where true wisdom and knowledge is coming from. And so when we share that, we are helping and supporting each other put those pieces of the puzzle back together. I really believe that the conversation is so powerful, and we're always learning through each other, as we know. I just shared my other reflection about 12 lessons to learn in community as well. Again, being in community, being with so many people is always going to reflect back to you things that you need to learn to grow and to evolve, right? So this is why this whole project has been birthed into the world. And when it comes to spiritual awakening, I feel like back then it was very different. Now, there's so many more people talking about it. But at the same time, there's so many charlatans, there's so many false prophets, and there's so much more reason for you to be discerning, for me to be discerning, for all of us to be so aware of what's going on. And again, as I was speaking to Chris on the podcast now recently, episode 58, is that it's just a bit strange now because you feel like there's so much cancelling going on of, you're not allowed to do this anymore. Oh, this one's cancelled. Oh, this is not, yeah, it's hijacked. Sorry, guys. And it's still continuing and it's still going on. And because of that, it stops people from actually finding the beauty in this spiritual awakening and actually going down that path. And he said very clearly and accurately as well, is that's the point. It's supposed to confuse people. The whole point is confusion. And again, may I remind us that the reason of so much of these narratives that are out at play is because, we are going through this ascension and we are going through our awakenings collectively and individually. And there are certain beings who are trying to stop that journey and to stop that process. And that is really what this whole time period is about. And because of that, I feel that, it's so important to see where that narrative control is taking place and to still be able to go in, to move through that fear and to still be able to go there and just look at it and be able to do it from a place of protection and power and not have this scared mentality and come from an organic place so that you can actually connect, that you can connect with yourself, you can connect with your soul, you can connect with source, and you can go through this evolution that is taking place at the moment. And it's just got to a crazy degree and level right now. There's so much happening at the moment that we really have to be aware of. And at the same time, it doesn't mean that we have to run in the opposite direction and completely close and shut the door to ourselves, to our own inner journey. That's really not the point. And I recognize that people are so, I recognize now that people are rightfully cautious of what they're listening to and what paths they're going down, what modalities they're exploring. And 100% I think that is just the reality of where we are right now. It's just how it is, and we kind of have to accept that. But this spiritual awakening is something that is happening to all of us, and I think it's really quite a joyful experience, something to, and also, don't get me wrong, it's not just joyful. There's so much destruction in it, there's so much confusion, isolation sometimes, obviously, like I said, now I feel like there's so many more people, but it's not necessarily helpful because I feel like people at this moment as well are sharing from a place of the beginning of their journey and they haven't quite got the full picture. So there's a lot of half-truths and misinformation, and things are not quite yet at the advanced level. We're really just at the beginning, and it's going to be like this. It was always going to be like this. And also, just because someone's been on their path for like 10 years doesn't necessarily mean that they've managed to do a lot of inner work as well. That's not always, people aren't always so serious and diligent on that. And so, I just also wanted to offer some tools and on this journey and on this path, through this time, the most important thing that we can really do is to anchor in that deep connection to the source. When we have this, we tap into this internal power. And it happened to me, so I'm speaking from experience here. And the power is just out of this world. It's out of this world, and it's something that no one can take away from you. And it's just anchored inside you all the time, And it helps you when things are presented to you that are fearful. It helps you to move through the fear and come back into your authority, So this, to me, is one of the most important things you can do. And the other thing, of course, is to be serious on your path about your inner journey and your inner evolution, and your shadow work ultimately is what I'm talking about. It's to be able to commit to the healing of your past wounds, what's coming up for you in this moment, and to look clearly at that and change your behavior, change your thoughts. When we change what's happening in ourselves, energetically, we're putting it out into the world. We are becoming the change that we want to see in the world. So many people talk about doing this, that, and the other. A lot of things that are material in the external world. If you want to, you can do that, but this is more powerful than any of that, I personally believe, because the shift and the evolution, that the wave that is coming is an evolution in consciousness. So it's your choice whether you would like to go with that wave or not. And when you go with the wave, you're adding, and it's not just one person. Like frequency and vibration, it doesn't work like that. When there's two people, it's not just the power of two, it's multiplied more than that, So, and energy is what we're working with, what we're working through, and what we're anchoring into from the world, from the earth, And when we become this living embodiment of the teaching, and that's basically the journey of awakening, the journey that we are going through, and that those of us who have chosen to go through are experiencing, when we become the living embodiment of the teaching, then we are anchoring in this different space and this different state of being and this different way of living and existing in the world. And when we do that, it basically provides the opportunity for other people to also know that that is possible, and to also have the option and the ability to become that too. And eventually, we're coming online, more and more and more and more people are going to become the living embodiment of Buddha. Checking, but you know what I'm saying, the one with the light. And enlightenment is a funky word that I feel like is confusing as well, but we all have the opportunity to come back into the light, and this is the path, this is the journey. Again, a lot of spiritual things in the community are based around material and a bit of performative. I'm going to do yoga, I'm doing this, and then you can go and do a lot of things, and you can also avoid your healing. So again, it depends. You can also do a lot of things and confront your healing, but are you doing that? So, and you really don't need a lot, I think, personally. And anchor in. The point is to become the teaching, and that is then our gift and our service to the world, and that's what we're offering. So this is really what this journey is all about, and there's so many different other aspects and offshoots as well, but I just wanted to share a little bit about this shift that we're going through, and so many of us are feeling. And I know right now as well, there's we're at the edge of a big leap where most of us are really going to be connected to our higher selves in a different way, and also really moving from those denser ways of being in a body, and also thoughts, everything. This feels like quite a big leap that a lot of us are going through right now. And I welcome and invite you to listen to my course, Awakening 101, which I designed for you to listen and have a bit of a support on this journey. And whether you are new or old on the path, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it's so important for us to have reminders. And it's a spiral, right? So we revisit things, but we're going in a bit deeper and a bit deeper and a bit deeper. So the course is designed for anyone on this path, and anyone looking, interested, feeling called to know more about what this journey really means. So inviting you to take a listen to Awakening 101, a ninja's guide to navigating your spiritual awakening. Thank you for tuning in. Check out all the other tools that I have here, the podcast, there's some other courses online, and a bunch of meditations. And also don't forget the clothing, apparel, freedom apparel that you can also purchase online. Thank you.